Hello everyone. Today our topic is how to create data frames using empty strings. So we'll see this content of this video. The main content is how to create a data frame with empty strings using list of tuples, and how to create a data frame using explicit schema, and how to create a table with empty strings using Spark SQL, and how to create empty string columns using lit function and using string columns, and how to create manage table with empty strings. So first we'll see our first scenario, that is how to create a data frame with empty strings. So mainly using with help of list of tuples. So what is a list of tuples means? So here I defined variable data. So inside data, I'm passing this list of tuples. So starting and ending is a square bracket. So that means that is list. And inside that we are passing tuples. So this each tuple we can consider as one row. So this tuple is one row and this tuple is one row and so on. So total in this 9 tuples we are passing. So each tuple is one row. So I already made one video on what are the different methods to create a PySpark data frame. So in that, so this data we can pass with the different methods. So either list of tuple or list elements. That means starting is list. So instead of tuple, we can pass list. That means all these rows we can pass as a list. And one more is the dictionary. So there are three ways we can pass the data. So here we are discussing about list of tuples. So here each tuple is one row. So here I'm using spark.create data frame. So that the data list of tuples I'm passing here and columns. So this is list of columns, that is list of elements. And finally, I generated this sample data frame. And if you see here, we have many empty strings here. So how it is generating empty strings, all these empty strings? Because here you can see this is a double quotes with empty. So wherever a double quote empty is there, so that is empty string. So whenever you pass string value, so we'll start ending with double quote. If you see here, starting and ending double quote, inside that we have some string value. But here, starting and ending with a double quote, and inside that we are not passing any string. So that means that is empty string. So wherever I given double quote, those places we are getting empty string. Okay, so this is one method how to create empty data frame with empty string. So that is with list of tuples. So list of tuples means this one. So list, and inside that each row I'm passing as tuple. And how this data frame creates is, so as I told, each tuple is one row. And if you see inside the tuple, we have elements. So this element is belong to this particular column, employee ID. So we need to pass here the number of elements in the tuple should be equal to the number of columns we are passing here. So that means first element it considered as this particular column, and second element it considered as second this column, and third element it considered as this column, and fourth it considered as this one, and we have city. So something I missed. So this is employee ID and this empty string. So that is employee name, and this IT, that is department, and this value is salary, and this Chennai is city. So here the number of elements in tuple is equal to number of elements in the list. Okay, so next, how to create a data frame using explicit schema. So ensures empty string is preserved. So recommended for production. So that means here what I did. So same code here. So that means this data is same, the list of tuples, and Only difference is if you see inside spark.create data frame, so this data, this is same what we discussed, list of tuples. So only difference is column. So if you see here, columns, how I return only the column names, but we are not defined any schema for this particular data. So how it detecting? Spark itself, it automatically detecting. So what this column belongs to which data type. So how Spark is detecting? So if you see these all values, it coming under this employee ID. So Spark will scan these values and it will detect it as integer value. And similar way, employee name. So all these values comes under employee name. Since all these are strings, it will detect as string. So Spark itself detecting the data types. So, but in production, what is the best method is always recommended method is to explicitly define the schema. So why? Because if you see sometimes there is possibility of Spark detecting the data type sometimes wrongly. Suppose if you see, actually these values are integer. So, but how Spark is detecting? It detecting as long type. Okay, so sometimes it will vary the data type detection. So it is always recommended to define the explicit schema. So for that, what I'm doing, instead of defining the only column names, I'm defining schema here by using struct type. So whenever defining schema, first we need to write struct type, and inside that, how many columns are there? That many struct fields we need to write here. So this is first struct field. And inside struct field, we need to first define the column name and data type and this one, whether it is true or false. So true or false means for this particular employee ID, we are allowing nulls or not. Okay, so this is second column. This is second struct field. So employee name, string type, and third one is department. Column name is department, string type, true. And fourth one is struct field. Column name is salary, integer type, data type is integer, true. So like this, we are defining the schema explicitly. So what will happen? So whenever you explicitly define the schema, so Spark won't scan these records to detect the data type. So Spark straight away, it will give you, so whatever you define data types. And if you observe here, we are getting integer. So earlier we got long. Okay, this is one example. So sometimes we'll get some different columns. So sometimes columns, uh, here I shown some 9 rows. Sometimes the rows will be some 1,000 or 2,000 like that. So in that there will be some mistake in means the value will be something different, maybe mix of a string and integer or some special characters. So that time it is a chances of detecting as other data type. So mainly at a Boolean columns, Boolean values. Okay, so explicitly defining the schema, but mainly what we are discussing about this one, list of tuples. So list of tuples with explicitly defining the schema. So this is second one. And third one is how to create a table with empty strings using Spark SQL. So in real-time projects, so whenever you work with the Databricks, so there is possibility of many times some people will use SQL also. So whenever you use SQL, so sometimes we can directly use like percent SQL. We can change to SQL and you can directly write SQL code. Or if you want to write in Spark SQL, so you have to write like this spark.sql and starting and ending with the triple quote. And inside that, you can write your SQL code. So that is Spark SQL code. So here I'm writing create or replace temp temp view. I'm creating the view here. My view name is employees. As select one as employee ID and empty string as employee name and IT as department and Chennai as city. So that means whatever I created here a data frame by using this list of tuples. So by using spark.create data frame. So this same row I am writing in SQL way. See here, select one. So first what we have 1 to 9. So, and here if you see select one, select two, select three, select four, select five. So here I'm considering 5 rows. So total 5 rows and so one as employee ID. So my column name is employee ID and every time no need to mention here. If you define at the first row, that is enough. That means in first select statement. So this is empty string. And if you see here, this is empty string. Next, IT 5600. So IT as a department. And I think salary is not defined, only Chennai I mentioned. So maybe I can add here salary also. So 5600. So here what I can do 5600 as salary and Chennai as city. So first what I have Chennai. So next Ravi to Ravi empty string 6250. So to Ravi empty string and here 6250 then empty string. And third one is two empty strings, and salary Bangalore. So two empty strings Bangalore. So instead of two empty strings, I mentioned admin here. So two empty strings and my salary, comma Bangalore. So next fourth is Shankar admin 5600. Shankar admin. So here what I will do, Shankar, sorry. So Shankar admin 5600. Okay, this is fourth one. And fifth one is Sendil empty string. Sendil empty string. Select file. Sendil empty string. Then salary. Then what else is there? Empty string. Okay. So, and union of. Okay. So up to here enough. So 5, 6 rows I given. So if you need, you can add it this way. So what I will do, I will try to run this one. So now we'll get one more row, that is salary. So syntax error 56 comma. Okay. So it should be 6. Union can only be performed. Okay, there is a different of columns. Name is empty. So here I need to enter the salary. Okay. Okay, so total, I added one more salary column also. So this how you can create the table by using Spark SQL. So here what I did, uh, in first select statement, I defined values with data types, and between each row, that means between each select statement, I used union all. So to combine the all the rows. So this is Spark SQL method. So next method is how to create empty string columns using lit function. So to use lit function from PySpark.sql.functions, I'm importing lit here. And what I'm doing, I'm using spark.range method. So if I use spark.range and I given starting value as 1 and end value as 8. So what will happen? The number of rows will generate from starting value as 1. So starting value as 1 and end value as 7. Why? Because range 1 to 8 means it will print between 1 to 7. And so these to define the number of rows. And what will happen whenever you define spark dot range 1 to 8? By default, it will generate ID column. To show this one, what I will do, I will comment it out these three things and I will try to run this one. So what you will observe, it will generate ID column. The ID column name Spark will give you by default. So whenever you use Spark.range, it will give you default name as ID. And since you mentioned range 1 to 8, it will give you between 1 to 7. Now what I will do, so this is about Spark dot range 1 to 8. So next what I will do, I will activate this second with column. So here what I'm doing here for this data frame, I'm trying to add one column. The column name is employee name and I'm mentioning lit. So inside lit, whether you can pass it either integer value or string value or boolean value, any type of value you can pass it. So what will happen now? Here it will add one more column. That is column name is employee underscore name. And the values will be for entire this column, it will be empty string. If you see here, one column will get added and this whole thing is empty string. And next what I'm doing, I'm adding one more column that is a department. So this also empty string. So if I rerun this one, it will get add one more column with all empty strings. So next what I'm doing, I'm creating one more column that is salary column and in it I'm passing integer value that is 25,000. So for entire salary column, there is one unique salary value it will add that is 25,000. Okay, so this is how you can create empty strings using lit function. So next one is how to create empty data frame with string columns. So empty data frame is without rows, that means no rows, but columns will exist. So the column names and the data type will be there. So only data will not be available. So that is empty data frame. So here this empty data frame with string columns. So how to create with string columns. So first of all, by using spark.create data frame, and generally here we'll pass data. So the data normally it is with list of tuple. So either list of tuple like this, list of tuple or list of list elements or list of dictionary elements. So for creating empty data frame, what I'm doing, I'm not passing any data here. This whole thing, if I remove this, what will happen? I will get empty list. So that means I'm not passing any data. So that is the meaning of this one, empty list. So empty list means inside that I'm not passing any records. That means 0 rows. And since we are not passing any data here, uh, if you don't mention schema, what will happen? So first I will try this one without defining this schema. So what I will do, I will simply mention the column names. So here what I will do, instead of this one, I will define columns, and these columns I will define here as a list of elements. So what is my list of elements? So here this one, employee ID, employee name, department. So these are all the column names. So these columns I'm passing here. So if I try to print here, employee underscore df list, and here list. So if I create this one now, here it throwing error like cannot infer schema from an empty data set. So that means here we are not passing any input data, and we are not defining any schema here. So this is columns. So without the data, Spark cannot define whether these columns belongs to which data type. So that's why it's throwing error, cannot infer schema from any data set. Suppose if you provide any single row of data, then it can able to detect the data type. Suppose here my data is empty. So here what I will do, instead of this one, I will try to add one row of data, that is list of tuple. I will mention list of tuple, employee name is 1, and employee name, I will mention some value, and department is IT. So now I'm passing one row here. So now it will work. Why? Because Spark it's enough at least one row to detect the data type. See here, it automatically detected. So this is one thing. What I will do, I will keep this also. So step by step it will be there to understand easily. Here I will write list, empty list, empty list without, okay, without I mention. So here it will throw error. And this one here one row I inserted, so it detected data. So next what I'm doing here, this I did here itself, right? Empty list. So now this is not required. Okay, so now I tried with empty list, with defining columns, and with one row defining columns. And third one is, so this is infer schema. This is with infer schema. That means Spark will detect the data type. And this is explicit schema. This is explicit schema. So that means my code is same, like empty list means I'm not passing any data. If I pass only list of columns, since it throwing error, what I'm doing, I am explicitly defining the schema. So by using struct type, and inside that, since I have three columns, so I'm defining three struct fields. So first struct field is employee ID, that is integer type, and that is true. And second struct field is employee name, so that is string type and true. And the third struct field is department, and data type is string type and true. So since we are explicitly defining the schema, the data frame will create. So here it throwing, so we need to import these things. So this struct field and struct type we need to define. So here what I'll do, I'll write outside, I'll run here so that it will be applicable for the entire notebook. Okay, so the empty table is created with explicitly defined schema. So next is last method is how to create a managed table with empty strings. So managed table means, so whatever I have this output df underscore lit. So where it is there, df underscore lit, that is this one. So this output, what I'm doing, I'm writing to my delta lake by using write method. So df dot write and mode method is mode overwrite method, and I give an option as merge schema equal to true. So this when we'll give in case in future, if any new column, if it is adding, then it will match the schema to avoid the error. And I'm using save as a table. So save, I'm saving as table and my table name is employee underscore table. Okay, so in Delta Lake, I'm saving my output table as with this name, employee underscore table. So since it is in my Delta Lake, so I'm calling here with the help of SQL. So select star from employee underscore table and order by ID. So in employee table, so these are all the columns we have. And what I'm doing here is I am doing order by on ID column. Okay, so this is about manage table. So output we saved uh, and that particular table we are calling here. And and this same thing I used here SQL, right? So you can do same thing by accessing catalog here. But for that, we should know this path where it was saved. So normally notebook, we should get this one duplicate. Okay. Okay, it asking again this one. So what I'll do, table name is employee underscore table. So in real time, what you will do once you save to Delta Lake, so in real time, generally we'll go to catalog. From catalog, we'll call that a table. So, but here thing is we need to find the location where it got saved. So maybe I'll create one more video how to access those tables. So table name is I think employee underscore table, this one. So ID, employee name, and this one. So that table, it got saved here. So through catalog, we can see this one. So this is employee table. And if you see the catalog path, so our schema is a default and table name is employee underscore table. So here it will show you these column names. So these are all the column names and these are all the data type. And if you click on sample data, you will get this one. So for this, you required to start the cluster. so that data frame it will show here. So one way is here in notebook itself, you can cross verify by using SQL. One more method to check whether table is created or not. You can come to catalog and you can click on this table. So without cluster, you can see the schema, table schema you can see, and you can see here who is created, owner, and whether this managed table or external table. So this you can check here. So all this information you can check here. But only thing you cannot check here is the sample data and history you cannot check it. So now cluster is started. If I click on sample data, so I can able to see the my data here. And this is common. You can search and filter here. And here you can check the detail also, like who created and whose mail ID and storage location, whether it is managed table or external table, and when it is created, and your delta table all properties it will show here. And and you can see the history also, like how many times when table is created and after creation table how many operations it happened. So December 21st. So December 21st, what happened? It is created or replaced. So table is created and December 31st. So December 31st, again, one more time it created. Okay, so like this, you can check the history. Maybe if I run this one, manage table, so suppose what I'll do, I'll run this one now, again to create this manage table. And if we go back again this catalog to that particular employee table, you can see this history again. So what is the latest update here? So now this is completed. Now I'll go to catalog and I can go to here Azure ADB default. I think here workspace, default tables. And if you come to employee table and you can check the history, signal. So since it is save as table, so very first time it is created December 21st. So next time I created a December 31st. So next time today it got created. So that means when cluster is stopped, it will get terminated. So that means it will get terminated, and whenever you run, it will show the history. And here it will show you the operation, which operation you did. So here first time it created, create or replace table as select, and this is second time, and this is second time. For same table, if you do some operation like adding the rows or deleting the rows, here this operation, it will show you here what type of operation you perform. Okay, so that's all about this video on how to create the data frame using empty string. So I shown you total six different methods on how to create this empty string data frame by using list of tables. So that's all about this video. If you really like this video, please like and